Hey guys, Nelsinho here. Let's get started with our fourth lesson where we're going to begin making this house right here. All right. So let's go. I'm going to put it here on the side, but I'll make a reference here in Maya so we can see. So I changed the Maya background here. With Alt B, you change Maya's background color. Alt B for background, which means the background. I set it to black here to make it easier. All right, so I'm going to split the camera here and here. I'm going to create a new camera. Here in this viewport, I'll create a new camera, view camera, create camera. And then with this camera, hold on, I'll create a camera with the perspective I want. When I create the camera, it will show up in the outliner. And I'm going to set the reference image there. So this camera here, I'm going to use it to add an image plane. So I created the camera and now I'm going to add an image plane here, import the image, and then I place the house here. I want to see it in everything, but the image will only be visible in this camera here. Now I'm going to make a cube. I made the cube, and now here in perspective view, I'm going to zoom in. Then I'll select the bottom face of the cube and align it with the grid line. Then I come here to this little button here. In Y, I put 0, which is the Y axis that goes up. So 0. Then what happens? If I scale here, it scales up the Y axis. If I had the axis facing down, it would scale both ways. So here's what we're going to do. Let's do an extrude here, Ctrl E. Then you extrude upwards, and now we're going to do the following. Switch to vertex, right click vertex, then we select this vertex, shift, right click. When you press shift and right click, if you're in vertex mode, it will give you the vertex options. If you're in face mode, it will give you the face options. If you're in edge mode, it will give you the edge options. So let's go to vertex. I'm going to merge vertices, which means joining the vertices together. Here, I'm holding shift and right mouse button to bring up the merge option. I'll choose merge vertices at center, which means putting the vertices together at the center. All right, now I select the other two and press G, which repeats the last tool. Got it? G. It repeats the last tool. Now we more or less have the house here. Since I've already done that, I'm going to change the camera's focal length here. I'm not going to talk much about the camera because later we'll have a lesson just about that. Select the camera. Now I'm going to set the focal length to 50 here since I've already tested it. Now I'm going to press full so we can see the house in wireframe mode. All right, now I'm going to try to position it. And the house, I'm going to turn off the grid here, and I'm going to try to position the house according to the reference. So the house needs to be a bit wider. So here I'm adjusting the camera. So with Alt, I'm zooming in and panning the camera. That's the zoom. And with the left mouse button, I rotate. Now I'm going to position this camera, this house, more or less where it needs to be. So what happens is it needs to be a little bigger towards the back. So I'll select the green ones, right mouse button, vertex, and I'll move the green ones back to fit this wall here. Now the roof part is too high, so we're going to lower it. And I'm fitting everything in. It won't fit exactly because it's in perspective. It's a drawing from Midjourney, so we don't really know, but it just needs to fit. All right, it's fitted here. Now I'm going to lock the camera. I'll lock the camera, and then with the key below backspace, which is a dash, you zoom in so we can see. There it is, the house, the roof, the front. What matters is it's right. All right, so let's start here with the house. So what's going to happen is I'm going to make the house without worrying about topology so you can learn Maya. Later, I'll teach you what topology is and how it should be done. So since we're not going to subdivide, which is pressing 3, and it looks like this, which is usually how things are rendered, we're just going to leave it at 1. If you press 1, 2, and 3, it shows how the object is divided into several faces. So 1 is not divided. With 2, it shows the divided version and it shows the mesh around like a grid around it, right? And then 3 is how it's usually rendered, which is how it would look at 3, but we're not going to worry about that. So let's create a cylinder here. Since we're not going to subdivide, we'll just leave this cylinder with 20 faces, that's fine. Then we press J and rotate with the mouse, and it snaps in increments of 15 degrees. So I'll snap it here to 90 degrees, okay? Then I'll come here, space bar, left mouse button, front view. I come here, done, see? Now I'll select the faces and delete the bottom faces. Okay, done that. I'll go back to perspective view and press space bar, right mouse button. Then you choose the camera you want. I'll go back to perspective view. Okay, now I'll scale it down to about the size of a door. I am carefully positioning it right here. I truly think it's about the right size, perhaps just a tiny bit smaller. Let's position it a little bigger here. That's about it. I'm checking here just to carefully see if everything is perfectly lined up, and that's pretty much the entire process. So what exactly am I going to do next? I'm going to meticulously take this specific object and completely isolate it right here. Look closely. With this convenient little button here, you can easily isolate it. Then I'm going to carefully select the edges, double click with the left mouse button, and it automatically selects the whole entire loop. Then I precisely press the shift key and the down arrow key, and then I proceed to extrude it. I'm going to extrude it downwards until it goes completely below the house's base. Since I'm going to perform a Boolean operation, which is essentially to make the precise difference between this particular polygon and another distinct polygon, I absolutely need it to be fully closed. So I'll press the shift key and right click, and right here I have the various edge options available. Then I'll choose the fill hole option, which is specifically designed to close the open hole. Fill hole effectively closes the hole, and now the hole is completely and securely closed. So what exactly do I do now? I carefully select the house, then I select the door, and then with the shift key and a right click we proceed to Boolean difference, selecting both A and B. I select A and B and it performs this action. Look, it precisely makes this perfect hole for us. You can easily switch its position to the other side if you so desire. And that's all there is to it. After you're completely done with this entire process, you select the house and click right here to delete the historical data. Look, delete the history. That way it will remove the part of the door. And that's it. We've made the structure of the door here. And then we'll model the door here and the window on the side in the next video. All right? So that's it. Thanks, everyone. Let's move on to the next one.